Many people ask how to experience a feeling they've never felt before. Let's break it down. The first state we begin to feel when life starts to change, or when we receive feedback from the world showing that our inner work is influencing external reality, is love for life, joy of existence, a deep sense of gratitude. Think about the emotional nature of gratitude. Its very essence implies that something has already happened. When you receive something or something is given to you, in the moment of receiving or right after, you express gratitude. When you feel appreciation, you automatically say thank you, acknowledging that you've already received something valuable. Most people live expecting some external event to change how they feel inside. They wait for a new relationship, a new job, a mystical experience before allowing themselves to feel joy or fulfillment. As a result, most of their life is spent waiting, not creating. They live in a state of need, emptiness, and fear, hoping something outside will relieve their pain. This is the Newtonian model of cause and effect. But when you live in a state of need, you try harder, control more, predict more, and manipulate the external world. You do everything possible while being separated from what you want. You wait, but you don't create. There are two key points. When a clear intention combines with an elevated heart-based emotion, not survival emotions. Survival emotions are anger, hostility, aggression, competition, hatred, envy, jealousy, insecurity, fear, anxiety, pain, suffering, guilt, and shame. All of them are derivatives of stress hormones. Elevated emotions are born in the heart. The heart center has no polarity. It contains unity and wholeness, the union of opposites. It is the bridge between us and the quantum field. Think about it. When you begin to feel heart-based emotions, you fall in love with your life. The body is your subconscious mind. It does not distinguish between a real experience and an emotion created by thought alone. For the body, everything is happening in the present moment. Genetic research shows that the environment signals the genes, and the final product of experience is emotion. When you feel an emotion before the actual event, you send a signal to the genes ahead of the external environment. You choose new genes to create new proteins that shape the body's functions. You literally become your dream. This is why when you feel this elevated emotion, you stop trying to control how everything will happen. By practicing this daily, you train the body to feel the elevated state. You fall in love with yourself and with life, feeling worthiness, openness, inspiration, optimism, and enthusiasm. You feel as if the future has already happened. Need and separation dissolve. Now to the second point. When energy is concentrated in the heart center, you feel gratitude, and this center begins to generate measurable information. Now you can overlay the thought of a new relationship or any goal onto this frequency, and you broadcast a new electromagnetic signature into the field. The longer you hold this state, the more powerfully you attract your future. When this center is open, you are connected to the quantum field. You don't need to go anywhere, control anything, or predict events. You become a magnet, collapsing space and time, and events begin to come to you synchronistically and unexpectedly. Coincidences and opportunities appear. But the opposite is also true. When you get angry in traffic, judge a colleague, or feel sorry for yourself as a victim, you emit a completely different energy. You return to the energy of the past and disconnect from the future. Many people's dreams remain at arm's length. When someone asks me why new relationships aren't working out, I suggest a simple experiment. Take a sheet of paper and write down who you want to be in that relationship. Then, become that person. Ask yourself, would you go on a date with you? When you begin to love yourself so deeply that you no longer need another person to feel whole, when you already feel complete, you attract someone equal to you. It's a side effect, and it happens in ways you don't expect. Emotions of gratitude, appreciation, approval, love for life, joy of being, worthiness, inspiration, and enthusiasm. These are forward-moving states filled with excitement and anticipation of the unknown. By staying in this energy without overthinking, you allow the unknown to reveal itself. When you live in gratitude, you are in the perfect state to receive the fruits of your efforts. To heal the body, you must go beyond it. To change the personality, you must forget yourself. To overcome life's conditions, you must step beyond the familiar past and predictable future. When you become pure consciousness, the next question arises. Can you hold your attention to this field? Feel it, sense your connection to it. Just because you cannot see something does not mean it does not exist. When you direct your attention to the field, you experience less separation and more unity. This is the energy that organizes matter, intelligent love, not chemical love like the affection you feel for a person or an animal, but a living electrical force. It animates us and holds everything together. Where you place your attention is where your energy flows. The more you connect with this state, the more wholeness and love you begin to feel. And then effort is no longer needed. The energy naturally rises into the heart. We've measured this state. It can be compared to a spiritual baptism. All the effort, all the practice, even the doubts and difficulties become justified, because once you encounter this state, you experience the most extraordinary feeling of your life. This is why I never ask people to imagine something or pretend. This is about a real experience of connecting with what we truly are. I ask people to become fierce, in the best sense of the word. When they are in this field and no longer burdened by the body, they can think beyond their physical condition. They are no longer tied to the material world or limited by physical reality. I often think about this when I create. If I intend to create something limitless, I must first feel limitless. If I intend to create something magnificent, I must become that state. We must bring ourselves into the inner state that matches what we want to create. Excitement and inspiration are shifts in energy, and when your energy changes, your life changes. No one will change until they change their energy. The real question is this: what are you truly passionate about? What moves you? This is not about mechanics or logic. We are intuitively programmed for creation. When we decide to create something new, an app, a project, a program for our community, we gather together and begin talking about it. Suddenly, ideas appear, insights emerge, new possibilities open. Our energy shifts and we feel excitement. This is the available energy from which creation happens. But the more emotionally we react to problems and life circumstances, the more attention you give to the cause. Whether it's an ex-partner, a colleague, pain, or resentment, if you constantly focus on it, you give that person or event your power. When you overcome these emotions through inner connection, you stop focusing on the people and problems of the past. The energetic bond with the old or current reality dissolves, and the energy returns to you. Then you have the resources to design your destiny. Yes, there are difficult meditations. I have them too. But if you are willing to sit in the presence of that inner fire, face it, and return to the present moment again and again, transformation happens. Every time you notice you're thinking about someone or something, you become aware of it and return to the here and now. This is how we open ourselves to possibility. This generates a sense of worthiness, respect for yourself and others. We begin to love and accept ourselves more deeply. It's as if we are in a crucible, in the fire, yet we continue the work, and the body gradually begins to change. As you feel more unity and wholeness and connect with the field, remember, in that moment, hidden systems of the body activate. The body begins to renew itself because you are connecting to the field of wholeness. The frequency of the body begins to rise. Many people come out of meditation saying, "I was scheduled for surgery, but the pain is gone. I don't understand what happened. I just went beyond myself." When brain waves slow down and shift from beta into alpha and theta, you connect with the autonomic nervous system. When you go beyond the personality, no longer identifying with pain, the past, the body, gender, or diet, you become pure consciousness. And then this higher intelligence recognizes that you are no longer interfering. It goes directly into the body. We've seen this in brain scans. The autonomic nervous system activates, and the body begins to process a new stream of consciousness. The body receives biological renewal from the field whose signature is wholeness. Disease and pain are states of separation. When the field interacts with the body at a higher level, a person begins to feel different. To remain in this state daily, you must connect with the field regularly. When you are there, ask yourself, what are you so passionate about? Fall in love with the idea of your healing. Relax and trust the field. Let a greater mind do it for you. Get out of the way. Engage with the field every day, continue the practice, and sooner or later you will say what everyone eventually says. It was worth it. Many people want change at the level of consciousness, a new job, a new career, a new life. But a subconscious program is already running. Let's break it down. When a program is created, it runs automatically. A person may consciously want something with 5% of their mind, but 95% of the subconscious will do the opposite. Here's an example. I was playing golf with my older son, and he often said, "I'm so afraid of hitting that tree." I asked him, "Which tree?" What images does the brain create in that moment? The subconscious draws a picture of hitting the tree, and because the subconscious controls the body, that's exactly what happens. People say, "I want to be wealthy," but inside they have programs of unworthiness and need. When they meditate and begin to open the heart, all these programs rise to the surface, and then it becomes clear why the desired outcome isn't manifesting. It's not because you're doing something wrong. The subconscious is simply releasing accumulated tension. This often happens early in the morning. That's how the subconscious mind works. It's as if it says, "Let's look at this fear and finish it." When a person says, "I want this because I'm afraid of dying, afraid of failing, afraid of rejection," they unconsciously create the very images that later manifest. How do we change this? It's actually simple. You must enter a state of deep calm, go beyond the analytical mind, slow down brain waves, and enter the operating system of the subconscious. You begin rehearsing new steps, what you will do, what choices you will make, what you will refuse. This is the sign that a switch has occurred in the brain. People say, "I want to be healthy," but then sit down at the table and break all the rules. Why? Because the program is still running and free will is temporarily lost. The subconscious is constantly talking to you. You must enter it and begin rehearsing new behaviors, how you get up from the table, how you make conscious choices, how you care for yourself. Over time, you rewrite the script. If you make even 1 or 2 new choices and refuse old reactions, you begin to feel satisfaction from your effort. Don't see this as a failure. The mind is simply polarized. The conscious mind says one thing, but the subconscious shows what is actually happening. Regarding health, People go through different stages and use different methods, medication, nutraceuticals, external support to restore balance. This is not bad. It's important to be pragmatic and regularly see a doctor. When you begin working with consciousness, you change neurochemistry, hormones, energy, and even gene expression. The body begins reorganizing. Sometimes new sensations or symptoms appear. This is a sign of restructuring. Many people experience deep, transcendent inner states and say, "I don't know what that was, but it changed me." The body received a new signal and began to renew itself. During this period, feedback from a doctor is especially important. Regular checkups show changes. Often specialists say, "I don't know what you're doing, but we can reduce your medication." And I always say the same thing: keep going, because it truly works. My main interest is a methodical, practical approach, one where a person moves step by step. When the body begins to detach from the past and we enter interaction with the field, biological renewal begins. A person emotionally tunes the body to the future and reprograms the brain, gradually shifting into a new state of being. When they begin noticing changes in their symptoms, this becomes the most important feedback mechanism. For example, my pain is gone. I slept through the night. This spot on my hand was there for 3 months and suddenly disappeared. My vision improved. I hear better. When you see these changes happening day after day, you understand something is truly shifting. The biochemistry that once kept you in the same state is no longer fixed. Treating a chronic condition with the same chemistry keeps a person in the same mode. But when a person masters new states and self-regulation begins, the body gradually reorganizes. Then it makes sense to practice regularly because you begin noticing changes more often. This is the fastest and honest feedback. You suddenly realize, "I ate this food and nothing bad happened. My body is responding differently." And when that happens, that is the turning point. I know this from personal experience. It happened with my injury. I began noticing changes in my body about 6 to 8 weeks of intensive work. I realized I hadn't disappeared. I was still here. When I noticed the pain fading and felt my legs differently, I knew this was it. I knew the changes had to happen. And then something interesting occurs. You stop dreaming about it. Stop saying, "I can't, it's not working, it's too hard, I'm failing." When you notice real changes, you suddenly say, "I want to do this again," and you begin looking forward to the next practice. It's no longer torture. The energy has shifted. I learned to create the state first, only then notice the changes. My body seemed to ask, "What's happening?" My body began to behave as if it had already healed. It moved, walked, and responded as though everything had already happened. Every time I meet people who struggle with the same patterns, I realize they truly need to come to one of our week-long events. They need to learn walking meditation. They need to take their body for a walk and literally pull it out of the past. They practice this in standing meditation so that in a conscious state, they don't return to old programs. They begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently, feel differently. They practice becoming someone new. Day after day, gradually, they transform. Our week-long retreats are an opportunity to sit differently, walk differently, stand differently, lie down differently. It's an opportunity to change habits. Because when we are unhappy, we walk in a certain way. When we feel sorry for ourselves, our posture changes, the body changes, the chemistry changes. When a person gains new energy and practices it for 2 weeks, they walk from the car to the office differently because they are living in the future. And sooner or later, the body aligns with that state. When this happens, many say, "I know I'm healed. I just know." They say, "I'll still take the test, but I know I'm healed." And we see this again and again, constantly throughout our community, countless times. But it's important to understand the body has become the mind, and it is afraid to step into the unknown. It will do everything possible to distract you. Itching, pain, gas, headaches, nausea, as if the whole body is screaming, "No, no!" Because the last time you stepped into the unknown, it ended badly. You were betrayed, manipulated, or hurt. I often use the example of horses. When I first had large pastures, I didn't want to install electric fencing. It was a call of nature. The horses touched it a few times, and then a conditioned reflex formed. Now you can lead them to the line and they won't cross it. The same happens with humans. Pain creates a conditioned reflex. I don't want this to happen again. The body is programmed to protect you. It pulls you back into the comfort zone and says, I don't know if I want this. Follow the instructions. Ignore the body. Every time it begins to resist, bring it back to the present moment and say, I'll let you sleep, eat, drink coffee, take a shower later. But right now, you are not the mind. I am the mind. And when you do this again and again, you return the body to the present moment and open yourself to possibility. You become stronger than the program. And at some point, the body yields. This is always accompanied by a release of energy, and everyone says the same thing. I'm glad I stayed with it. It was worth it. I went further than I ever imagined. Every time you go beyond what you thought was possible, you enter the unknown. But then you return to the known as a different person. If you truly understood that the divine is a loving intelligence, the foundation of all matter, always present, you would meet it with matching energy. Your mind must match its mind. Your love for life must match its love. Then you enter the field of this intelligence. You won't yawn, you won't itch, you will be awestruck by its magnitude. But many people show up at half strength. They say, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. That is the body's mind speaking. It's like entering the state unconsciously. If you knew you could create new energy and connect with this intelligence, you would treat it like a date with your beloved. You would arrive on time, be fully present, and show the best of yourself. You wouldn't allow yourself to be distracted. You would move mountains to make time for it. When you say, I don't need breakfast, I don't need coffee, I don't need sleep, I don't need my phone, I don't need comfort, I want you more than anything. You step on the altar of the divine, offering the best of yourself. People often complain and beg as if pleading, but would you want to be in a relationship with someone who is constantly needy and demanding? First, you must connect with this intelligence and then go into life. When you sit down and commit, you sit like a noble being. You say, this is my time. I direct my attention into the unknown. I want to see feedback in my life. You will receive an electrical response. The body may shake or twitch like a horse when a rider mounts it. The horse knows it is no longer in control. A higher mind is. Many people have been conditioned to believe in their own powerlessness. They've been told their thoughts, feelings, and gestures don't matter. This is false. Sit like a noble being. Command the present moment for 30, 45 minutes, or an hour, as long as you can. This is your time. The body will eventually become excited, merging with this state, because the feeling will be electrical. I guarantee you will not yawn. You will leave the past behind. The body simply needs a master, someone who steps in and says, this is my time.